Hey girl, hey, it's your girl Jasmine and welcome to the Softest Read. Today y'all, I will be sharing the soft lessons that I learned from the books that I read this year in 2025. And if you've been here for a while, you already know I love reading spice and romance. Y'all, I love the filth. I love the emotional roller coasters. I love the wild romantic rides these authors be taking us on. But no matter how spicy the book gets, I always try to take a lesson from what I'm reading. I'm always paying attention to the lesson that's tucked underneath all of the filth and all of the things inside the story. And so there were a few stories this year where the lesson resonated with me and lived rent-free long after I finished reading the book. And so I want to share about them today, and hopefully some of these have resonated with you all as well. So let's get into it. The very first lesson I want to talk about today is from Only for the Weak by Natasha Bishop. And y'all, on the literal first page of her book, sis came out swinging. Like, just before you get into the story, there is a page with a quote that says, "May you learn that it is okay to be selfish with yourself." And y'all, I love that Natasha had led with this quote, because that was exactly what I was screaming at Janelle throughout the entire story. Like, I was always screaming at sis to, like, stand up. Like, I need you to speak up and say something, and then also tell these bitches no, okay? Tell these bitches no. I'm sick of you always bending over backwards and overextending yourself to people who are ungrateful and who are clearly taking advantage of you and using you. And that's what I love the most about this story, because it's literally teaching you that it's okay to put yourself first, especially when you spent your life putting everyone else ahead of you. And in the story, we saw Janelle doing that. We literally saw her putting everybody before herself, to the point where she was like literally mentally and emotionally exhausted. Like, Janelle, I related so much to, because like so many of us who have that responsibility in our family, we are seen as the more responsible one, or some of us see us as a damn doormat that they can take advantage of and keep walking all over. But there comes a point where you have to literally put a stop to that. Put a stop, into all that bullshit, y'all. And then the people who be taking advantage of you are the last people you can even call for help too. Like, if God forbid you find yourself in a situation where you need some help, and the very person that you've been overextending and giving all this help to is the same person that you can't call for help. And it's kind of like, it's not like a give and take kind of situation, but it is a situation of you having to realize that you can't give more than what you have. If you are pouring from an empty cup, you have to stop that shit, y'all. Stop it. So this story is a reminder that choosing yourself is about finally deciding you deserve basic respect. When you care too much, you start trying to fix a whole bunch of shit that really has nothing to do with you. And that's also detrimental to your own health and well-being. So being selfish with yourself in this context is literally self-preservation. It's realizing that protecting your peace is what type of time we should all be on. And once you start to choose yourself, you also start looking at how much of that exhaustion is tied to how you see yourself. Which leads me to my second lesson of the year, which is from Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. And in this book, what I learned is that peace starts with accepting the body that you're in today. Now, if you read the book, you already know that Aaliyah, the main female character, she was constantly verbally attacked by her uncle and her parents about her weight. And they disguised their nasty comments about her weight as like genuine concern about her health, and also her being single. And they were pushing the idea that her body was the reason she couldn't get a man. And that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. This book was a literal reminder of how much unlearning we have to do when it comes to family and societal pressure around weight in our bodies and what is considered healthy, or that you can't find a man if you're a big girl. Because if we're not careful, especially us women who are big girls, I'm a big girl, we will internalize that shit, and next thing you know, we are beating ourselves up, we start believing it, and we quietly count ourselves out of shit, out of things that we actually deserve. We deserve love. I don't give a damn, baby. I am fine, fat, and fabulous. I got a couple pounds on myself, and it's never stopped me from finding love and being out here in these streets and getting chose. And at the end of the day, your weight does not define yourself. It does not define your worth or your capacity to be loved. And we have to protect ourselves from people like that. People who have nothing but negative things to say about us. You have to protect yourself from the noise. And then there comes a time where you have to decide that you deserve joy, love, softness, and joy exactly the way you are. And once you accept yourself for who you are, you also have to get clear about what you actually want, which leads me to my third lesson, which comes from the short story Trickin' is a Treat by Brianne Dene. And y'all, I was mildly surprised that I even found a lesson in this book because it's so short. But the lesson that I found in this short story is to be careful what you wish for and to be explicit about what you need. For those of you who have not read Trickin' is a Treat by Brianne Dene, I think of it as a cautionary tale for all of my manifestation queens and my praying queens out there who are listening in and watching this video right now. And the reason is that you can quite literally manifest and obtain the man. Like if you've been praying for a man, if you've been trying to manifest a man, you can do it. You can do it. You can obtain the man, you can obtain the money and the opportunity for love. And as quiet as it's kept, you can get the good day too. But if you aren't clear about your emotional needs that you need in a relationship, and if you want a lover who's going to cater to your love language, or you're not here for a short time, fun time, you actually want longevity in the relationship, a partner who supports you and will be there for you at the capacity that you need them to be, you will have the man with the good D, but still end up being unfulfilled if you're not clear about what you're praying about and what you're trying to manifest. And not to give too much away with the story, just know that the main female character, her name is Alicia, she wasn't as clear about what she wanted in a man. So she got all the things that she had asked for in a man, that she thought she wanted in a man, and she only had that man temporarily. Okay, he was here for a short time, but a good time, and then poof, gone. And it was just a cautionary tale to me that we need to start being more explicit about what we want in a man. Don't just be asking for surface level shit. Ensure that you are also packing in all of the other things that matter that you want out of a man too, okay? I know we all want a man with a big dick, but make sure the big dick comes with an honest and truthful heart. Somebody who's not gonna cheat on you, somebody who's gonna always respect you and support you in all the things that you do and not trying to break you down and be jealous about you. Somebody who's not gonna be possessive, obsessive, even though that is sexy sometimes. But the point is, y'all, make sure you are explicit about what you want. It doesn't always have anything to do with the man. It can be anything in life, anything you want to achieve. If you want more money, make sure you are asking for the money to come to you swiftly and easily without harm, okay? Because sometimes you might get more money, but you get money from getting into a car accident and then you get a settlement, but the car accident left you in a wheelchair. Like, you have to be specific on how you want things to come to you, period. Now, this next lesson comes from The Secret World of Maggie Gray, specifically from Gene to his daughter Susie. Y'all all know, if you have read the book, you know about Susie's character. But he has said to her in book 2, you do not have to catch every fucking thing. And y'all, I talked about this in another video, the actual reading vlog that I have for The Secret World of Maggie Gray, books 1 and 2. And I talked about this quote, and it still lives rent-free, y'all, because it was just such a good word. Life is gonna keep throwing things at you, drama, responsibilities, other people's problems, but you are not a baseball catcher's mitt. You are not a baseball catcher's mitt. You are not responsible for holding everything together or fixing everything. Gene tells Susie in book 2 to cry only what you can handle and let the rest of that shit go. Because if you try to carry all of that, you will eventually break and you'll eventually just spiral. And next thing you know, your life is gonna be full of chaos and you're gonna be trying to figure out, well, how the fuck did I get here? And it's because you just took on too much shit. You've been a bag lady. carrying too much shit that's too heavy for you to carry. So let some of the shit go. Keep some shit that you truly give a fuck about. But let some other fucks go. You can't give a fuck about everything. It's as simple as that. And the last lesson that I want to share is from Losing Control by Lady Nisha. And it's very simple, but very much so powerful. And it kind of piggybacks off of Curvy Girl Summer's lesson. And the lesson is that you do not have to be whole and fully healed to be loved. And that story shows that even when life is chaotic, traumatic, and it's just a whole bunch of shit going on in someone's life, does not mean that they aren't worthy of love. And in that story, we learned with Marley, who has gone through so much, y'all. Like, if you read the story, she lost her child, she lost the love of her life, and it was a lot of like traumatic things that happened to her. And a lot of people around her were just expecting her to just pick right back up and get back to basically living her life. But it was super hard. And because she did not know how to, or have the proper tools to really handle what she's gone through, she didn't really go through therapy. She was dealing with that on her own. And when you deal with something like that on your own, a lot of your trauma and your grief, this, I believe it's 7 stages of grief. One of the stages is anger. And she was still at that stage. And her anger was manifesting in how she spoke to people, what she said, and how she was operating. And she didn't realize like how much of a bitch she was coming off to people. And what I love the most is that Marley, even though she was all of these things, she was still unhealed. She was still dealing with the trauma. She was still very much so emotional and crying and really angry about the cards she had been dealt in life. It didn't mean that she wasn't worthy of love when love was presented to her through Caesar. And Caesar was trying to love on her. And he wanted him some Marley, and he was not letting up. And that's what I love most about the story, because it taught us that somebody who was still grieving was still worthy to be loved. And so that was a lesson, because I know that there's a lot of shit that I went through in just the past year in 2024 that rolled over into 2025 that I'm still trying to process and deal with. I've been in and out of therapy, but it gives me hope that, you know, even though I'm going through all these things, because people like to say, come to me whole, come to me healed, but nobody's ever truly 100%. Like, even if somebody didn't go through something as traumatic like what Marley had gone through, people are always going through something. Nobody's ever 100%. So you mean to tell me that I gotta be 100% happy-go-lucky, have all this shit together before I can even get love? No, because nobody would be in love. Nobody has ever had all of their shit together before they got in a relationship. Like, none of this shit matters. None of this shit matters, okay? None of this shit stops people from falling in love and finding their person. So I love that Lady Nisha showed us that. You know, some of these books be fantasy, and as women, we like to live in a fantasy, but I honestly truly have seen it in real life. I've seen it amongst my friends find love when they themselves were still healing from stuff that they experienced from a previous partner. You know what I'm saying? Even with life being very chaotic, traumatic, or unfinished, you are still very much so deserving of love, and you do not have to wait until you have fixed everything about yourself, everything that you don't like about yourself, to experience love and a true, real connection in life. I had intended for this video to be short and sweet, so that's it for me, y'all. But as I move into 2026, I'm taking these lessons with me. I want to be more intentional about my boundaries, clearer about what I ask for, gentler with my body, and more honest about what I'm willing to carry. And I'm no longer going to be chasing perfection next year. I know that I chased a lot of perfection with this channel, but I'm so proud that I got over my fear of looking stupid and sounding stupid. I know I talk really fast, and sometimes I'm like, do people understand me when I'm talking in my videos? Because I have to slow down. But I'm very much so proud of myself for even starting this channel, and I'm very thankful for everyone who has tuned in and watched little old me and what I had to say, even though I was on a struggle bus a little bit and like what I wanted to share, and being intentional about what kind of content I want to create, because I know that I can talk, y'all. I can talk, and sometimes it just don't be about shit, but I just be talking. But I really want to move forward, like just be intentional about what I want to share here on this channel, and actually have a goal. And I don't want to just get up here and ramble about books, even though books will be the basis. They will always be the basis for this channel. I'm gonna continue to let the books be a place where I learn, I reflect, and I escape without the pressures of real life. All 2026, I'm choosing softness, alignment, and I just want to thank y'all. I want to thank y'all so much for spending time with me this year, for watching, for listening, and sharing space with me here. And I can't wait to see y'all in 2026. Please be safe out there when y'all are celebrating the New Year's. Please be safe, y'all. And I will see y'all in the new year. Bye.
Thank you.